It's Red Eye Radio. Gary McNamara and Eric Harley talk about everything from politics to social issues and news of the day. Whether you're up late or you're just starting your day, welcome to the show. From the Uniden America Studios, this is Red Eye Radio.
Hello and welcome. He is Gary McNamara. I'm Eric Harley. It's the Tuesday before Election Day. 1 week out. 7 days and counting. And all that good nonsense. Gary, how are you?
Well, as the Muzak in the Home Depot said today, I'm shaking my groove thing.
All right. Who was that? Shake your groove thing.
Peaches and
Herb?
Herb, yeah.
Was it? All
yeah,
right.
Peaches and Herb, yes.
All right. Well, they were no Sister Sledge, but, you know.
But going to the store, I'm like, really? Shake your groove?
No, I heard We Are Family the other day, and I thought, okay, there you go. No, the coolest thing, Here I Go Again by Whitesnake. I'm like, all right, we're getting closer.
Just like, wow.
You know,
that one caught me a little bit off guard in the store today. It's
well,
like, okay.
I actually had a young person come up to me one time at a Home Depot, and I was looking at, I think it was insecticides or something. And the young person, very nice. Sir, is there anything I can help you find? I said, no, I'm just here for the music. Steely Dan was playing, and I was actually thinking at that moment to myself, I never really bought any Steely Dan, and I should have. I don't know why I didn't. And then I was like, oh, because I started radio at 18. I pretty much have heard every song over and over again.
Yeah, you forget about that. Yeah.
I had free music.
Yeah, you forget about that, especially when you're in radio. And if you were in any type of radio format that was the music that you listened to,
yeah.
Well, then music that you liked, you would hear, especially when it was a hit, every 90 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, okay, I don't need to buy it.
Right.
All right, you ready for this?
What do we got?
All right. Listen to this. Tell me who said this. Reality is an undefeated champion. It would be easy to blame others for our long and continuing fall in credibility and therefore decline in impact, but a victim mentality will not help. Complaining is not a strategy. We must work harder to control what we can control to increase our credibility.
Well, it sounds like our colleague Ben Shapiro.
Nope. Nope. Who is the richest man in the world?
Aside from me? I'm rich in other ways.
Who owns the
That's what my grandkids keep telling me anyway.
Who owns the Washington Post?
Oh, yeah, Elon Musk.
Was it over when the Germans bombed Pearl Harbor?
So you're saying Dr. Evil said this? Was he?
Yeah.
Was he holding his hairless cat?
Well, it's
put his pinky to his
but
mouth?
It's amazing. You just wondered when somebody like him or somebody in the media would say they've gone bat soup crazy.
Well, where did I see? Okay, so they've lost. Did they say 200,000 subscribers? For those that don't know, the Washington Post did not endorse a candidate for the first time since the 1880s. It might be the 1980s. I'm exaggerating. But they didn't endorse a candidate. And what that means is it's like unions. When they don't endorse a candidate, it's as good as endorsing the Republican. Now, for the Washington Post, not so much. But it is the equivalent of the Washington Post looking at Kamala Harris going, no thanks. It's like, when they bring the dessert cart by and all it has is fruit cups on it, at the restaurant. And you go, no. And then the story got out that it was, they lost like what, 200,000 subscribers?
8%.
You know, it was interesting. I keep a Washington Post subscription for the show. I don't actually ever read it. In fact, I can't remember the last time I looked up a story for the show. They're kind of worthless. And I was thinking, for that reason, I think it was just a couple of days ago. I think it was over the weekend. I don't know that I need to keep it anymore. And I thought, well, I'll just keep it through the election cycle. We'll see what happens. But the liberals are going bat soup crazy, you know. So, look, I do have to wonder. Bezos has been very liberal in many ways, but let's take a look at his big moves. By the way, the story also came out that it wasn't him that made that decision. He did not make that decision. Others made that decision, and it's like, okay. Him leaving the West Coast to move to Florida. And apparently when he got to Florida, he bought the whole cul-de-sac. I mean, and those cul-de-sacs are huge. But leaving and going to Florida, we've seen that before by very rich people. They're looking to save a lot of money on taxes, you know, as many of them will say, I can give that money to charity, and it would go much further. And they're right on that when they say it. But I do have to wonder about people like, we see what's happened with Elon Musk. I think the Twitter files, I think before that, I think he suspected some things. I think there were things that were going on with him before that. But certainly the Twitter files was kind of the straw that broke the camel's back on that one. And Jeff Bezos, you're looking at, you know, another guy that is faced with the left coming after him because, you know, he's a billionaire. Is he still the richest guy on the?
I thought so, right? Is it?
Yeah, I mean, I think.
Or did Elon Musk take over?
I don't know. I think it goes back and forth. So, you know, it just depends. Like the other day, Tesla shares boomed, so that would be the net worth for Elon Musk would have, skyrocketed, at least for the day. But that's the question in my mind is that, all right, we know like Warren Buffett. Oh, that's the other thing, too. You saw that story.
As of October 1st, it's back to Elon Musk.
Okay. Yeah. I thought it was. I thought I'd seen that.
$270.5 billion.
Brother, can you spare $1? Brother, can you spare an EV? You look at Warren Buffett and people like that. Did Warren Buffett make a? Was the story out the other day? Warren Buffett did not make a campaign donation. I have to go back and look at that. I don't want to get that wrong. But in the past, remember 2008 during the primary season, he gave equal amounts to Hillary and Obama. So many of them, and of course we all know George Soros. Many of them have tons of money and they're very liberal. But when you look at people like Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos, you have to wonder because things are really active and going toward them, basically targeting them and their business models. You just have to wonder. I don't think we're looking at Bezos being a conservative by any stretch. But when there's pushback, you know, when you have Congress saying, "Oh, we need to break these companies up, we need to blah 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 blah, blah. We need to regulate this," as soon as you become number one, they're coming after you. And we've seen that over and over again.
Well, he did say he will hire more conservative writers.
Mm-hmm.
That was, look, you cannot promote the insanity that the left is promoting on the issues and not get pushback eventually from the majority of the population. And that's what you're seeing.
Yeah.
That's what you're hopefully seeing right now. And at the same time, you're seeing in the Democratic Party what happens when you practice the victim oppressor narrative. When that is your ideology, and then you keep every year, you've got to, in order to expand your base, you believe, get more victims. The problem is you get more oppressors.
Yeah.
When you get more victims, and now everybody's infighting. Saw yesterday, just looking at yesterday, AOC. A lot of people don't think it's right that Harris is on there with Liz Cheney and is talking about the Cheney endorsement.
Yeah, right.
It's like, well, duh, we said that. To begin with, you've got now, what was it? The pro-Harris super PAC warns that the messaging focuses too much on the Trump fascist label. There's going to be, if Trump wins, there's going to be a ton. I mean, you're going to see the attacks on each other in the Democratic Party come to the forefront.
Yeah, it's something I think we've touched on along the way, especially in recent weeks, about what will happen when all of this, all of their, what have been their go-to weapons politically failed. If you get to a point and he wins, and they're throwing everything at him, because, again, the whole thing with the Hitler comments and all of that, it's just, it falls short in so many ways. It's worse than a third grader, because a third grader by the third grade already knows. This is like some toddler just blurting out words. Fascist, Hitler, roaming around the house. And it has no direction at all. But that's what you get when your nominee has no direction, her campaign has no direction. And if it ends up not working, if it ends up that he wins, yeah, I can see that fallout happening. I think the stronghold of the far left will come back and say, well, we didn't do enough of it early enough or something, like that. We'll probably hear that. She never got a chance, and we should have said fascist from day one. We should have.
Well, they did.
we should have. We should have. Well, she should have said it, but she wasn't in. And it's there's the problem too that they have is, she should have been out there yelling. She should have been doing interviews calling him a fascist and Hitler from day one.
Well, we had suggested yesterday that maybe you up it to Satan, but if you do Satan, then you are sort of implying that there's a God, and they can't do that.
Right. Plus, he now endorses your side. It's Dick Cheney. He's already.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
Yeah, so,
you've already got the Satan endorsement,
you
right?
You can only,
if you've got the Satan endorsement,
you
right?
can only have one Satan. So,
let me see, Cheney.
Yeah, it's the problem that you're always going to have if you don't have any direction. If you don't have any, if there is no cohesive thought really at all, they're not organized. When I see it, all I have to do is see the still shot or the thumbnail of J.D. Vance or Ramaswamy or any of them out there doing interviews, and it's like, yeah, I know that's going to be on point. I don't have any lack of confidence at all when it comes to the surrogates on the right for Donald Trump. For her, it's the excuse machines and the name calling and the labeling that doesn't apply.
Oh my God! Did you see? Apparently, AOC and Walsh were playing Madden football.
Yeah, the whole pick six thing.
And he's talking about what great, basically on offense, what a great pick six AOC had. It's like he's a former supposedly football coach,
right?
Has no idea what a pick six is. Oh my God! I just laughed. It's like, oh gee. And the best thing in the article is they did it specifically to attract men. That if men see AOC and Walsh playing football, Madden football, they'll go, that football. He played football. Vote for him. I'm a dumb, stupid male.
That may be the case with some of them.
Can you drink? What kind of beer are you drinking? I need a beer with my football.
Did they have beer? Did they have beer? Hold on a second. Now you got my attention. I thought. Wait. I think the solid point she made at the end was probably the most damaging to the Trump campaign when she stood up and yelled, "Go sports!"
What was that? Who was that? Who was the? I can't think of the singer that was dating the Dallas Cowboy quarterback, the former Cowboy quarterback. You know, the sister duo.
Oh.
This is before Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't think of her name. I think of it. Remember, and she was standing there cheering like in the press box, and it was like, great goal.
Yeah.
I just remember that.
Got her arms up.
It was like, great goal.
Yeah. Who was that?
Oh, I can't think of her name.
Yeah, I forget who that
Jessica
was. Simpson,
yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, Jessica Simpson,
Yeah.
We got a great show ahead. I mean, it's complete lunacy, as we figured it would be, but we got audio cuts galore. It's going to be a good show.
Mm-hmm.
I think
so.
It better be. It's
We're
our
hoping.
job.
We're hoping.
We have to
Fingers
perform.
crossed. Look, we're going to be here either way, so just get a stick to bite on for the pain. That's all we can say.
866-90 Red Eye.
This report is brought to you by Shell Rotella. With advanced synthetic technology, is designed to help keep your rig running with more mileage and less maintenance. As the seasons change, so does truck maintenance. Cold weather can affect everything from your batteries and air brake system to tire inflation and fuel lines. Here's a maintenance tip to help make sure your rig is ready when winter comes knocking. When water and moisture build in your air brake system in the dead of winter, it will almost certainly freeze and turn to ice, which can damage valves, air dryers, and other air system components. Be sure to inspect your system for any air leaks and to confirm the system is receiving a clear air supply. Check and drain your air tanks daily to keep water, contaminants, and corrosion at bay. Find a professional service center near you to learn more about winterizing your truck or to have your air brake system inspected today.
Lines open for your calls. 866-90 Red Eye on Red Eye Radio.
It's Red Eye Radio. He's Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Welcome. Thanks for being here this morning. Matt, just very quickly, you see the fires at the Oregon and Washington ballot boxes?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, that's crazy.
Well, as we said, what do we want when it comes to a secure election? We want what? The reason that you and I have always said people should go and vote on Election Day. And no mail-in voting.
Mm-hmm.
And why have we stated that? Because you want as few hands as possible. In fact, you want no hands handling ballots. You want not only the reality of election integrity, you want the perception of election integrity all the time.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a problem necessarily with early voting as long as it's in person. And the problem is that it boggles my mind that you could that they could drop ballots in a box somewhere.
Yep.
That there's for a considerable amount of time no humans in control of that.
Yep.
You know, because I'd be worried about someone coming along and, I don't know, setting it on fire.
Which is what happened.
Exactly.
You're listening to Red Eye Radio. from the Uniden America Studios.
It's Rhode Island Radio. He is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Welcome and good morning. Did you see Michael Schellenberger talking about the comedian that talked about, what was it, Puerto Rico and trash?
Yeah, Tony Hinchcliffe, who is an Austin-based comedian. Kill Tony is his podcast.
Schellenberger wrote, he goes, the whole media knows about it.
Mm-hmm.
There's actually a huge trash problem.
Yeah.
There's a major trash problem. Now, it's been accelerated because of the hurricanes that they've had there, but they don't think that they're going to be, they've got landfills closing, they've got chemical leaks going on. They believe it could take 20 to 25 years to solve the garbage problem in Puerto Rico.
Right.
That it's actually a legitimate thing. It just wasn't he said, and everybody in the media knows it. They know it. It's been covered.
Right.
And he goes, it wasn't that. But what I thought was interesting was part of the discussion on CNBC yesterday when Byron Donalds was on. Here we go. Ready for this? All right.
Question for you.
Sure, go ahead.
And this is what I think, to the extent that there are folks who, by the way, may agree with the policies of Trump,
Yes.
but don't want to vote for Trump. And those, some of those people. The reason that they don't want to vote for Trump is because they see, either in his character or the people who seem to support him, seem to be engaged in that or willing to engage in that, right? Because what you don't see, you don't go to other rallies for Harris or see in a Harris rally that kind of vitriol. It just you see. Look,
You don't?
I don't think you do.
Kamala Harris spends half her time talking about her rival as Hitler. After he's been, there have been attempts on his life, not once, but twice. She's doing it right now. Every Democrat official at these rallies refers to him as Adolf Hitler. You got Hillary Clinton running around there hawking her book that nobody wants to buy, frankly. And she's talking about how this is akin to 1939. Are you out of your mind? You want to talk about rhetoric? Let's compare, but let me go back.
I just love it. Love it. I mean, it's at every turn.
And then you heard George Lopez.
Yeah. George Lopez can make the joke.
George Lopez made the joke, basically saying implying Puerto Rican steel.
Yeah. I think he said Mexicans.
Was it Mexicans? Was it Mexicans?
I think he said Mexicans.
Was it Mexicans?
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
As Mexicans, yes. Mexicans stealing, yes.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And so their side can make the joke, and the liberal media doesn't care about it.
I need to get my identity politics right here.
Yeah, exactly.
But when you let me get the story here. I got so many of them here. Number one, MSNBC faces backlash from Jewish Trump supporters after Nazi rally comparison. MSNBC is facing, and we played it yesterday. We played part of it for you yesterday. MSNBC is facing backlash for comparing former President Donald Trump's recent Madison Square Garden event to a pro-Nazi rally held in the same. It wasn't held in the same New York City venue.
No,
it's with this. Why do people keep saying that? It wasn't held in the same venue. It's got the same name. It's a different building.
Right.
One of the far-left network's anchors, Jonathan Capehart, called Trump's packed rally chilling because of the German-American... because of the German-American Nazi rally back, totally unrelated, back in 1939.
Right, yeah.
But that jamboree happening right now, you see it there on your screen, in that place is particularly chilling because in 1939, more than 20,000 supporters of a different fascist leader, Adolf Hitler, packed the garden for a so-called pro-American rally.
Yeah, we played that audio cut yesterday.
And they kept it, they kept it going for a while. Social media influencer Shane Ginsburg poked fun at the media outlet's claims, writing, "I'm Jewish. I went to the Nazi rally. I'm voting for Trump. Any questions?" And you also had I thought I had the story here. a actual Jewish American group that came out and said it's reprehensible what they did on MSNBC and what the Democrats are doing. But the whole point is, it's not working.
No, this is, again, the boomerang thing that they keep doing over and over again. You would think they would learn. You know, it's like there's some weird short-term memory loss thing going on with them.
One of the Harris's major super PACs came out, and it made news yesterday, some pretty big news, saying, stop it. It's not working.
Right.
Don't do it.
Well, again, when we look at things like the Alvin Bragg case and all that, creating a martyr politically in Donald Trump, I mean, my gosh, this is long before you get to the 2 assassination attempts. And I thought to myself, it is akin to that creating a martyr kind of effect when they keep yelling fascist, Hitler, fascist, Hitler, fascist, Hitler. When they keep having these meltdowns like Mika had, he's killing us. He's killing us. It's these people they're not children. Children have the ability to learn.
The leading super PAC funding Harris's campaign is warning Democratic political operatives that messaging that focuses too narrowly, it's all you hear, too narrowly on former President Donald Trump's fascist label and character flaws is far less effective than messaging that focuses on policy differences between the two presidential candidates. Future Forward USA Action, which has contributed more than $56 million to the Harris campaign, reportedly circulated an email Friday insisting that attacking Trump's fascism is not that persuasive. According to the New York Times, the email was part of a weekly message that the fundraising group sends out with guidance on messaging strategies and other tactics that the group has insight on. Purely negative attacks on Trump's character are less effective than contrast messages that include positive details about Kamala Harris's plan to address the needs of everyday Americans. I'm looking for specifics here. I'm looking for the specifics. Well, because they're the PAC and they're saying this messaging isn't working. Well, what works? Messaging on the differences between, well, what are the differences? Well, the things that she wishes to do, which are?
No, she's pro-fracking. She wants to build a wall. What differences? That's, again, what they're trying to say is we need to talk the issues and stop this garbage. They can't. They're not. Who does the PAC think she is? What is it they have in their mind that they think she is? By the way, when's the last time that's happened? That a candidate's PAC is saying your messaging is wrong. That's a tell right there. That shows you how screwed up this whole thing is. That shows you how clueless she is. And it's exactly, this is more proof of what I've been saying now for weeks, the fact that there is no cohesive thought, there is no organization to their actual organization. They have none. You have no idea what any of your surrogates are going to do or say. You have no idea what your Veep pick is going to say. Pick 6.
I love that one.
It's honestly, man, somebody has to write the book. And it's got to be chronological, right? It's got to
Yes.
go, and there you would have a chapter on almost every day. You would have to write a chapter for almost every single day of this campaign.
By the way, on the Trump thing with the comedian, they should have known exactly what he was going to say. They before Trump came out and spoke, the campaign already came out disowning it.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So they immediately come out. But
look, Hinchcliffe is one of these guys that it's going to be like a roast. If you've ever seen his podcast, it's not going to be kind. It's not going to be PC in the least. I was wondering, because I kept seeing comedian. I couldn't find an article that mentioned his name. When they said Tony Hinchcliffe, when I saw that article after reading through a few others, I thought, why?
Yeah.
Why would you have him there?
Yeah, because you want all I care about is all the surrogates.
Right.
Even maybe a celebrity, if you want to bring, the Hulkster out again, he's going to be harmless.
Yeah, Kid Rock, whatever.
Well, you may want to be careful about Kid Rock. I would stay away from Roseanne, Kid Rock, and any comedian the last week of a campaign when you see everything going. But it's not going to matter. It's not going to make any difference. It's every day friends ask me, what do you think? What do you think? And I'm like, you're hyperventilating over things that don't matter anymore.
Well,
everything
there are two things. There's the why would you pick Tony Hinchcliffe? And then the other thing is, did the comments by Tony Hinchcliffe move any needles?
No.
And the answer is no.
No.
And you're not going to, and the thing with George Lopez isn't going to move any needles either.
No.
In fact, they can only hope it gets them some attention. Oh, come on, please make the headlines. We're already at that place. We're already there. We're there. We're a week out now. When these things happen, we were just over a week out. This is not, it's in people's minds, it's a done deal. It really is, it comes down to whether or not they show up to vote. That's where we are right now. And there's nothing that's going to move the needle. That's not, I don't know why they picked Tony Hinchcliffe. It doesn't fit. If Rogan were doing a rally, because Rogan and Tony Hinchcliffe are pretty tight, but if Rogan were doing his own, kind of a surrogate rally, I don't know that he would do that. But I could see him being, there at Rogan's deal, which he's done before. He's done quite a bit. But otherwise, it doesn't match. It's not a match. It doesn't fit. I get more out of listening to a J.D. Vance, Byron Donalds, Ramaswamy.
I could care less about the celebrities.
Yeah.
For some reason, they do. Well, the Democrats have to, because that's
pretty much all they got.
Right, because
that's the star power.
That's
when your nominee isn't the star.
I don't care. I could care. Now, we're different. Mm-hmm. I've been through so many of them. I really could care less about the sis boom rah 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 of rallies.
I don't need that to motivate me.
Right.
I need to know where you stand on the issues,
right.
and beyond that, I can do it my own.
That's us. And again, I'm not criticizing anybody else. I'm just saying what gets to me is just the issues, and because I've been to so many political events in my life where it's like, okay, can we cut through this and get to the points out there? I look at last weekend, and the rally was, it's you look at it going into New York City and doing all that. Yeah, it may make a little bit of a political point. What I really think was important this weekend was J.D. Vance on every single Sunday morning news show and Trump on Rogan. That was it.
That's your reach on the issues. That's your reach.
Right. And that's why people are voting this election. Mm-hmm. Nobody is voting in this election because Roseanne is voting for Trump.
No.
Or Kid Rock's voting for Trump.
Mm-hmm.
And so you can use them and to use them at the RNC and things like that. But when it gets to a couple of weeks away and you see all momentum is going your way, you don't take a chance with anybody except those people that you trust completely. But I don't think it's going to make a difference.
I mean, if you want,
I don't think it's going to make a difference anyway. It's just you want it to be extremely disciplined, especially when you know that all the polling and your polling shows America is really responding to the surrogates that you have. And we're talking J.D. Vance, Elon Musk.
Well, there's your star power right there. I was about to say your star power is in Elon Musk, and it's not because he's Elon Musk.
Yep. 866-90-RED-EYE.
We'll be right back with more Red Eye Radio with Eric Harley and Gary McNamara.
Top of the Hour News is brought to you by House Products. Visit houseproducts.com.
This is Red Eye Radio on Westwood One. Now, it's Red Eye Radio. Gary McNamara and Eric Harley talk about everything from politics to social issues and news of the day. Whether you're up late or you're just starting your day, welcome to the show. From the Uniden America Studios, this is Red Eye Radio.
All across the USA, we are Red Eye Radio. He is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Good morning. Here we are, a week away from Election Day. And you and I have talked about in the past, how do you up the insane rhetoric of the left? And we had talked about this yesterday. You know, they're stuck on Hitler.
Yeah.
And we thought about Satan, but he's already endorsed Harris, as you said. No, but if you say Satan, then if you're going to call him Satan, then somebody might believe that you believe in God, and the Democrats can't have that. Look, after booing God in 2012, they just can't get into any of that unless they can use it, unless they can use God, which they haven't been able to do effectively to defeat some argument. You see it in dumb memes, for example.
Right.
But other than that, and then they're not really challenged because somebody would say, well, then you believe in God.
Mm-hmm.
No. But we have found a way that somebody found a way yesterday where they can up it. There's the headline. You ready for this?
All right.
Stop what you're doing unless you're driving. Whoopi Goldberg claims Trump will dismantle interracial marriages and redistribute the white spouses. This is not a Babylon Bee headline. ABC's The View's co-host Whoopi Goldberg embarked on an unhinged rant during Monday's show, making the outlandish claim that former President Donald Trump wants to break up interracial couples, deport women of color, and then put the white guy with someone else. Here's the quote. What we heard at that rally should be enough to shake folks away because he's talking about you. He's not going to say, oh, you're with a white guy, I'm going to keep you from being deported. No, he's going to deport you and put the white guy with someone else. The man is out there. End of quote.
So what would the term be? Matchmaker? Home wrecker?
Matchmaker president.
Deporter? I don't know where the label... It's... This is such a Kamala Harris-esque assessment. He's gonna put the white guy with someone else?
Right.
You wait over here. I'm going to find you somebody else.
Right. Trump, look, as we all know, he did reality TV. He's been in business. Why not be president matchmaker?
It's going to be the greatest wedding ever. Everybody knows.
Trump will arrange marriages.
Okay. I want all the white guys over here. What kind of moron comes up with this kind of garbage?
Whoopi.
Oh, kind of moron.
You know what I mean? It's like, I read that and went, the Babylon Bee better not put that as a headline because then it would be accurate. But when I saw that yesterday, that headline,
The white guy with somebody else.
Whoopi Goldberg claims Trump will dismantle interracial marriages and redistribute the white spouses.
What do you think the lawyers on The View did in that moment? What do we do with this? What is this? We don't even know if it's legal. This could be so stupid that it's illegal.
That's right.
It's not whether it's accurate. We're not even concerned about that. We're concerned whether being this stupid is legal.
Oh,
Gonna put the white guys with someone else.
and I guess if you
Who would
reverse
that
it,
be?
I guess if you reverse it, it would be the white woman with someone else.
Right, okay.
I'm sorry, I just said that and thought of Cleavon Little
Yeah,
in Blazing Saddles.
right.
Where are the white women?
Exactly.
Oh my God! I mean, it's like I don't even know where to go anymore with this.
Well, because there are two possibilities here, or maybe millions. I'm not good at math. It's either she wakes up and says, "Oh, I got a good one. Okay, I'm going to say this today. This will get him." By the way, this in her mind, oh, this is going to change the election. This is going to stop the momentum. And you just come up with the garbage, or she actually wakes up and says, "Oh my gosh, he's going to do this," and actually believes it in her mind.
So
I can't tell you
when
which. They're both horrible choices.
but when you break it down, okay, let me make sure we got it right. He's not going to say, "Oh, you're with a white guy. I'm going to keep you from being deported." No, he's going to deport you and put the white guy with someone else.
And
So what she's saying is, and I'm not really sure what she's saying, because if you are, if you marry an American, you can get temporary status. So I'm not sure where she's going with that.
Right.
But what she's saying is, if you're white and an illegal, excuse me. Okay, so
if you're here
the
illegally,
white,
the white guy
Right.
has married you?
all right,
That's
all
what
right,
she's
all
saying.
right. So the white person is the citizen,
Mm-hmm.
the non-white person is the illegal.
Right.
So you get deported, and then Trump would, because here's what she put, he's going to deport you and put the white guy with someone else.
Put the
So
white
an
guy with
arranged
someone else.
marriage means that Whoopi is claiming that Trump would commit slavery against white people.
Yeah. Forced marriage.
Forced marriage.
I missed that on his website. I didn't see that part. I got to be honest. I don't spend like 24/7 on his website. So maybe I missed it.
Wow. I mean, just losing it, but losing it to another level. That's what we were looking for.
We keep waiting for the beyond scorched earth moment of the day, right?
Yes.
That's beyond stupid earth. That's not scorched earth. I don't know what it is. I don't know. Seriously, I'll tell you right now, the lawyers had a meeting after that.
And you know
Yeah.
what they said?
We
need
quit.
we need to institute
We're
mandatory
done.
drug testing.
Yeah.
We're not sure what the hell she was talking about, but man, this sounds like somebody who's really pretty high.
Or it's time that we, like all the lawyers on Law and Order, start putting some bourbon in our desk. Because we're not going to make it to Election Day, and it's only a week away.
Yeah, but, the old Law and Order, when they used to sit there after they would win a case or lose a case and all sit around Schiff's office, not the one out in California, and break out the hard liquor.
The real Adam Schiff.
Right. The poor Lenny could never drink. Remember?
Yeah.
Remember when he
Right,
couldn't
yeah.
drink?
Yeah.
But the DAs were all drinking.
Right, yeah.
Let's-
Yeah, Lenny was recovering.
Let's ask Kamala if that's true. Do DAs really drink heavily?
I think some of them smoke weed. I could be wrong.
Oh man. So
Yeah.
that's the best.
Going to put the white guy with someone else.
Right. And I remember vice
Well,
versa too, because
You know who I want to ask about that? And this group is important. White dudes for Kamala. Wonder what they think about that.
well, that might be a reason to vote for her.
No, you know
If Trump is going to do arranged marriages for white dudes.
Yeah, all the entire group of white dudes for Kamala. Now they're thinking, oh, we might finally get a date.
I didn't look at it that way.
There might be hope. It might happen. Cross your fingers.
Well, you never know. If Olbermann gets out of the basement, maybe he can find someone.
Well, I mean, think about it. They're on their online meeting, and then someone just hands a memo to someone. Hey, here's our topic for the day. From Whoopi Goldberg. And then put the white dude with someone else. And then Jeff Bridges says, okay, man, but I'm already spoken for, man. But I'm glad to be here. Always upbeat and optimistic.
Well, look, we need to. There's a white guy. All right, Keith Olbermann. Who should we set him up with? Okay, you already dated Laura Ingraham. Who can we fix you up with here?
Yeah. And no, your mom can't take you on a date. Mom!
Oh, my gosh. Oh.
We'll put the white guy with someone else. That's I don't think that was the direction I was expecting.
They're running out of ideas.
Yeah. She's said a lot of stupid things over the years. There's another book right there.
Yeah.
Each stupid thing's going to be its own chapter.
That would be a great book.
Yeah, no, it would be.
The dumbest quotes made by The View.
Yeah.
I've said this before, and I mean it. The View gives the incorrect stereotype that women are emotional idiots.
And they make it worse all the time, by the way, that stereotype. It's
a wrong stereotype.
Yeah.
It's a wrong, but not one woman I know has any thought processes or narratives the way that the women do on The View.
Yeah.
But the women on The View, you look at Behar and you look at Whoopi Goldberg, especially those two, give the incorrect stereotype, the completely false stereotype that women are emotional nightmares.
Yeah. And not very smart.
And not very smart, no. And that just backs it up again.
It's just mind-boggling.
Yeah.
I'd like to blame it on weed. I don't think you can blame this on weed. I think some things are just plain stupid.
It's not strong enough.
Right.
It's not strong enough
Right.
to distort the mind.
You know how much weed you'd have to smoke to make you say something that stupid? You'd be breaking some kind of Guinness Book of World Record.
The Cheech and Chong movie where the windows open, the smoke is just pouring out.
Exactly.
Oh, my gosh.
Didn't they have an entire van made of weed?
Oh, that's right.
Remember that?
That's right. That's how they were trying to sneak it across the border or
Right.
something. Yeah, so they made the van.
The entire van was weed. Oh, I miss those days when you could make a van out of weed.
Watch out. Woody Harrelson's going to hear this. And, guys, you can make a car out of hemp, if you use the proper hemp.
Yeah,
rope.
well-
I mean, you can treat it properly where it's stronger than steel.
Yeah, be careful, Woody. We didn't say bus. It said van. Slow it down.
866-90-RED-EYE.
Brought to you by FPPF, Fuel Power Max.
Surviving and thriving as an owner-operator has just as much to do with managing costs as it does with generating revenue. Understanding basic principles of operating costs can save you thousands of dollars a year. Costs are not the same each month. If 9,600 miles are driven one month and 10,000 miles the next, two different sets of costs apply for each month. For example, if your tractor payment is $1,850 per month and you drive 9,600 miles in the month, your tractor payment is costing you 19.3 cents per mile. Drive 10,000 miles, though, and that same payment will cost you 18.5 cents per mile. This is one of your major fixed costs while paying off a truck loan. The difference in this example is only a fraction of a cent, which may seem like small change, but it ultimately amounts to $960 more annually on the bottom line. Because though fixed costs do not go down over time, you can reduce your cost per mile with more paid miles. Owner-Operator Business 101 is provided by Overdrive's Partners in Business program. Go to overdriveonline.com to the Partners in Business section of the website for more details on this and many other topics. Brought to you by Shell Rotella, with advanced synthetic technology is designed to help keep your rig running with more mileage and less maintenance.
Coming up, more with Gary McNamara and Eric Harley. It's Red Eye Radio.
It's Red Eye Radio. He's Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Welcome and good morning. I want to play this audio cut from I think one of the deputy editors of Newsweek, Batya Unger Sargon, who way back when, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, was an out and outright liberal, was viewed as a liberal, and now I think is more of what I call a liberal populist that understands why Trump is winning, and then talked about it here recently about why Trump is winning. Here we go.
Compare Donald Trump, who's trying to protect American citizens, with Hitler, who murdered German citizens who happen to be Jewish. And what they're trying to do there, Rita, is erase the distinction between citizen and non-citizen, right? They're saying that for Donald Trump to deport illegal immigrants who are non-citizens is the same as Hitler killing actual citizens, because to them it means nothing to be an American. They do not believe that Americans have the right to insist that it means something to be an American and that we owe something to our fellow Americans, because they feel that they owe them nothing. They have nothing but contempt for their fellow Americans, especially the working class. What's so ironic, Rita, is that through the 1990s, it was the Democrats who insisted that we have a strong border because their base was labor. It was the Democrats saying, why would we allow millions of people to come here from other countries and undercut our workers? When Donald Trump showed up and said, wow, we should probably control immigration and protect our working class, the Democrats realized that he had picked up not just their agenda, but their working class base, increasingly of all races. The real threat that Donald Trump poses is not that he is a divider. It's that he has united the working class in one voice against the elites who hate them.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
I mean, we've talked about it. There's been this flip on a number of issues. I think immigration is definitely one of them. We've also talked about how Donald Trump is middle of the road. He's mainstream. It was mainstream, and she's right. Democrats for years, look, we've got to protect our borders. As late as 2015, I think it was 2014, 2015, the late Harry Reid in Nevada. We need to put up a wall.
Yeah.
I mean, that's where they were. Donald Trump comes in. They loved him until the point that he decided to run as a Republican. And he's adopting, he's taken on many of their positions, and now they've abandoned those positions completely.
You're a threat to democracy if you don't download our app, Red Eye Radio.
And he's Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Welcome and good morning. We played that audio cut from the deputy editor of Newsweek, who said the real reason they compare Trump to Hitler is that the elites don't believe in citizenship. They don't feel that they owe their fellow Americans anything. And she made the case. She said they're trying to make the case that deporting non-citizens is the same as murdering the deporting non-citizens in the United States is the same as Hitler murdering his citizens in World War II.
Right.
And she said that's because they don't care about American citizenship. They don't care about you. And she said the real threat posed by Trump isn't that he's a divider. It's that he has united the working class against the elites who hate them. More than just the working class, I believe. When you look at the issues, and you just said it before we went to the bottom of the hour, and we've said this for the longest time, Trump is not a conservative.
Right.
He's got some conservative beliefs.
Mm-hmm.
Trump's a moderate.
Mm-hmm. And
he's always been a moderate. But on the issues, if you look right now, there's a reason. We said this a couple of months ago when the Harris came out, the Harris campaign, and said she is going to be tougher and will build a wall, and Trump can't. What was the other one? No longer believes in defund the police. What was the other one?
Fracking.
Mm-hmm. That she's pro fracking. That's when we started calling her Kamaga. It was like, oh my gosh, and we went, wait a minute. When you look at Trump and you see where the public stands on the issues, the great uniter, the person who has been able to unite this nation on the issues. We'll see whether he wins next week, but he has. Every poll shows it. The majority of the citizens of the United States agree with Trump on the issues.
Yep.
And so he has united. And think about this. When was the last time you saw a president that would come in and say, here are my 5 issues, and the vast majority of Americans would agree with all of them? And Americans have actually felt what the Democrats have done in their everyday life. They have felt the crime, especially in Democrat cities. They have felt what illegal immigration is doing. And they have felt the policies of spending way too much money.
Yeah.
They've actually feel it's hit home to them. And so it's very easy to say, I agree with Trump on that, I agree with Trump on that, I agree with Trump on that. That's why Kamala had to pretend that she was changing her position on the issues 180 degrees. And everybody knows it.
Yep.
And then they started parsing the sentences. Well, no, she's not going to ban fracking. She's just not going to expand fossil fuels. What? What are you talking about?
Well, you're basically saying she's going to shut it down.
Right. She's right. She's going to ban fracking.
Yeah.
And so that's why they are where they are right now. And all they do, especially when people say, I agree with Trump on all of these issues, and there's so much that I agree with him. I may disagree with him. I might not like his personality. Who said it? Oh, it was Cuomo, Chris Cuomo.
Mm-hmm.
Said the left doesn't get it. It's like nobody, they're not, people, the majority of people don't speak, the majority of people who are voting for Trump don't speak like Trump. Right. He goes, because that's not the point. They're not voting for somebody who necessarily has the same type of personality that they do.
Well,
they're looking for somebody to do their bidding and to take down what they believe is the immorality of the weaponization of government, of the destruction that they view of their economies because of inflation. And that's why.
Well, I said it the other day. I think I've said it a few times along the way. If you understand Trump's language, and it's kind of a language all its own, just the way he talks, his mannerisms, you have to extract from that, and there may be something that sticks out where you say, okay, I disagree with that. We talked about tariffs. Then you look at the language as applied to the things that he has done as president, which is what is unique to this cycle. And, we, in fact, said in 2020, it's what he should be promoting. It's what the editorial board at the Wall Street Journal was talking about. Promote your accomplishments more. And he wasn't getting that done on the campaign trail. He also didn't have the surrogates he has now. He also didn't have the Veep candidate that he has now. So it's a vastly different tone. And it's also a different tone coming from him. After 2 assassination attempts, lawfare, and everything else that has come his way, he's clearly there is something different about him. And it's, if you don't interpret everything, if you go in and interpret everything literal, in the literal sense, it's going to take you a while to get through the Joe Rogan podcast, because you would have to stop it and go, okay, well, what did he mean by that? You have to get into the Trumpisms. And you also have to know what matters and what doesn't, in terms of what he's saying. When he points at certain things that he knows about that are within his wheelhouse, and you understand that, and you can say, okay, I know what he's done here. We said, look, we're going to get to the point at some point, if he wins and becomes president again, will, I'm sure, disagree with something he makes a move on. He's been called out before. He talks about that openly, saying, people criticize me, and maybe the criticism was fair, and he's actually been pretty open about that.
Last week he said, remember, in 2016, what did we hear? Trump will succeed because he's a business person and will hire all the right people. Mm-hmm. He said last week, I hired all the wrong people.
Yes. No, he actually, I think he alluded to that on the Rogan podcast.
Oh, did he on that too? He did it another time last week.
And talked about, there were some very bad people. He talked about Bolton, he's talked about, and I think it was part of that same thought. And we talked about that too along the way, back when he was still president. Well, he's not hiring the right people, clearly. And now it seems like every surrogate that's out there for him, those are the right people. What will happen with his cabinet and his staff and everything else remains to be seen if he wins.
You know what I think the difference is? And I think that this will be the difference hopefully in this next administration, is the fact that in politics, you got a lot of people with a lot of big egos. And when Trump came in, you had a lot of people that wanted to work for him because they thought, just like Obama thought, and not Obama, Obama and Biden thought, we can manipulate this guy. We can make him, there's a ton of stuff we can do, to get on his case. He'll react in a different way. Oh, Comey said it, Comey. We knew that he didn't know what was going on, so we would use that for our advantage. I think there are people
when they sent agents to talk to Michael Flynn.
Right. And I think you had a lot of people that wanted to work for him, the same thing. I'm going to have a lot more control. When he would stop him and be blunt about it, boom. What you have now, though, is you have relationships that Trump is building with some of the most articulate communicators for conservative populist narratives that I've seen in a very, very long time. And even they have disagreements. You talked about tariffs. I heard Ramaswamy a couple weeks ago. He doesn't sound like he's pro-tariff at all.
Right, yeah.
And so, they may have differences in opinion, but they're all looking at the big picture, and it's not egos getting involved. There is no sense that Ramaswamy or Elon Musk are part of this campaign because they want a position for their egos.
Right.
They seem very driven by what they believe will work of getting the job done.
Right.
And I think that is the difference. When you get up into that level, you get a ton of egos, just like in the military when you start talking about these generals.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Not all of them. I want to make sure. I'm not saying all of them, but the egos exist in there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And look, you don't know. You've never been in politics. You've never been president. I'm Kelly.
Mm-hmm.
I've been in the. I've been here my whole life. This is what I've done. I know what to do. Sorry, I'm president. You don't.
Right.
Boom.
No, I think there was a lot of that. I mean, especially when Trump first came in.
Yeah.
The ambassador to Ukraine, and some of these were holdovers or leftovers from the Obama years. But they thought, and I think there were people that served under him as a part of his staff and cabinet that had the same mindset. Well, I'm going to save the world from him.
Yeah.
That's basically was their mindset.
Yep.
I by the way, we absolutely cannot discount that effect if he wins and becomes president again. That is something that has to be closely monitored. It's hard to read somebody's mind, and you want them to do a good job, but if they're in there thinking they're going to save the world from him, he talked about Bolton the other day on Rogan. People warned me about him and being such a pro-war guy and the whole thing I should have known and blah, 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 blah. It was clear to me that John Bolton just wanted to write a book. He was just in it to write a book. And he probably was also in it to fulfill his own agenda. But that's kind of the world today. Many people at that level think, well, I'm going to show him, or I'm going to save the world from him, or I'm going to get what I want to get done.
Or both.
Or all the above.
Yeah.
And that's extremely dangerous because the tone has to be set by the commander-in-chief, by the president, full stop. He won the election. He's sent there to do a job by the American people. If he wins, there can be none of that in this second term.
866-90-RED-EYE.
Get in touch with Red Eye Radio, toll free at 866-90-RED-EYE.
It's Red Eye Radio. He's Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. All right, a New Hampshire pollster saying and we did this, I think, yesterday on the polling, up by 0.4 of a point in New Hampshire. Democrats have won 7 out of 8 the last 8 elections in New Hampshire. Also, the economists looking at the inflation points. The inflation points to this election here, looking at past elections. And we'll hear, too, from a lot of different other political analysts out there that are looking now that we're just 1 week away from, will we know or won't we know?
Right, yeah.
But we'll get to that and a whole bunch more. What was the other thing we wanted to get to? Oh, yeah, the media coverage. Coverage of Trump and Harris in the presidential race, get this now, is the most lopsided in American history.
Wow.
Surprised?
Well, no. It's just that I'm surprised that they kept track of it. That they actually, that anybody cared to measure it.
Well, it's a media research center.
I know,
That's what
but,
they do.
But it just, I guess the point is, I'm surprised that they can keep track of it.
And the problem coming no matter who wins the presidency, there's the headline, CBO likely underestimating the rise in interest rates due to the debt.
Yeah. Yeah.
It could be 20% of all revenue.
Yeah.
Will be the debt, I think, by 26. 20% of all revenue goes to the government, will go straight to paying off the interest
on the debt. Yeah.
This is Red Eye Radio on Westwood One. Now, it's Red Eye Radio. Gary McNamara and Eric Harley talk about everything from politics to social issues and news of the day. Whether you're up late or you're just starting your day, welcome to the show. From the Uniden America Studios, this is Red Eye Radio.
All across the USA. We are Red Eye Radio. He is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Well, welcome to a Tuesday. Here we are, a week out.
All right.
You think about it, though, it is pretty amazing that the LA Times and both the Washington Post not going to make an endorsement. That's pretty huge. It really is.
Well, it's, again, I've been asking the question, if you're even the most liberal activist media, and probably for very different reasons than our non-endorsement of her, but if you're looking at it from their perspective, why would you?
Well, to me, the indication is, if they were just the semblance of normal Democrat liberalism, they'd get our vote. But it's the insanity of where they stand on the issues. It really is. I think it's the absolute insanity that you just cannot justify, that they kept hoping, well, maybe it'll change after Biden's in. And then when she came in and started talking about, oh, okay, I'm going to be tougher and build a wall, nobody's buying that crap.
Well, yeah, and I think on another level, it also is a strong indication, and it makes it clear now what we have said. The toxicity surrounding Trump is all but gone.
Yeah.
Because it would have been enough to say, we could give her a few tips on how to campaign and how to speak in public. But we cannot sit here and allow Trump to become president again. Therefore, we're endorsing her. I could have seen that and gone, yeah, okay, I get it. Your disdain for Trump, your fake fear building, mentality. But that didn't happen. It's only really coming from, if you think about it, it's coming from her campaign. Some of the media egging her on, kind of, the whole fascist and Hitler thing. A few of them are trying to throw it out there, but really it comes down to this. Is the Harris campaign the hill they want to die on? And it's not. She's not the rock star. She's not the future of their party. They know that. They know that if she were to win, that it's going to be a chaotic, disorganized mess inside the White House. And if there's no fuel in the Trump toxicity tank, then it goes nowhere. And that's exactly what you're seeing. You're seeing that from unions. You're seeing that from now a number of liberal media groups. They just cannot do the deed when it comes to endorsing her. It doesn't matter that Trump is her opponent. That tells you where we are. That tells you that what we have been saying is true, that the toxicity is all but gone.
And you mentioned identity politics. I want to play this audio cut here from Kelly Ann Conaway. She former counselor to Trump. I can still remember in 2016 when she went to Trump, and they talked about it. Remember, because this is before the election.
Yeah, she talked about it. I think it's the first place I heard it.
Yeah, and it was before the election. She said, I had to go to Trump and say, quit saying those things. You sound like you've lost already.
Right. It was about a month or so before the election. He kept saying it's rigged, it's all rigged, it's all rigged. And she told him to quit saying it because it sounds like he's already lost.
She analyzes what's going on here in this election cycle and the Harris campaign. She was on with Jesse Waters last night.
Makes people feel seen and included. Just last night at his rally, you may not have heard it, may not have been covered, Jesse, but he said, I'm announcing a new tax credit for caregivers, for people who are taking care of a loved one, usually an elderly parent or relative. He said, it's time that you be recognized for what you're doing. That is the way people feel. They feel like they're included in a movement, and they're so tired. This is the election where people are resisting being told that based on your gender, your race, your age, your zip code, your socioeconomic status, your union household membership, the fact that you're Jewish or Catholic or African American, all of that, you're supposed to vote a certain way. This is the election where people are saying, no, I'm going to vote my patriotism and my pocketbook.
Anti-identity politics
election. It truly is. And she's going back on this. And as we've discussed on this program for years now, because we've been talking about Kamala for years, when people say, I think Kamala Harris is unsteady and unready, it's not based on sexism and racism. It's based on eyesight and hearing. We've been exposed to her constantly now. And if there's one thing scarier than not knowing what she stands for, it's when she actually explains to you what she stands for.
Right.
So we've got more. And when she was first a nominee, I said to President Trump, there's not a lot of time to define her. It turns out she doesn't have enough time to define herself. She used to be running out the clock on a lead that doesn't really exist. Now she's racing the clock because she feasted on I'm not Biden, I'm not Trump for months. And it leaves the question that she can't answer for Sonny Hostin and AC 180. I call him AC 180 now because, boy, he turned on her.
Did you see Biden
who
now?
Are you?
Biden is complaining that he's not involved enough.
He should be.
And Michelle doesn't want him involved. Have you ever seen this kind of turmoil going into an election?
No, and people should not forget that Donald Trump has single-handedly done away with the Bush dynasty, the Clinton dynasty, the Biden dynasty, the Cheney dynasty, all these family dynasties in politics. The Obamas are next, and I'll tell you why. The Obama couple remains popular, but the Obama coalition is gone. We turned 206 Obama counties to Trump in 2016. Biden won a few of them back, but they're trending Trump again, most of them. And so when you think about what their legacy is, I'm sure they're, quote, fine people. But we only hear from Michelle Obama every couple of years. Where's the Michelle Obama Center for Women and Girls? I'll donate and volunteer tonight, Jesse, if someone could just point me to the website.
Yeah,
or the
we'll
1-800
find that
number.
for you in the...
There you go. But interesting. I mean, because bringing up the identity politics, which we have said, I mean, I'm glad there's the recognition of it. We still believe that this is something that, and I don't know how the Democrats move away from identity politics. We talked about this in 2018 when I said, remember when I said they got to move away from it? They can't, and they just kept doubling down and doubling down. I said, eventually you're going to get burned by it, because as a political party, you cannot have a plan to further segment your audience or your core. And that's what they're doing with the victim-oppressor relationship.
Yeah.
They keep making more pieces of the pie that are screaming at each other. And it's a great point that she brought up. Now you're going to have, if they lose, the infighting is going to be unbelievable, because you're going to have Pelosi being blamed for Biden being out, Biden blaming. I agree with you. I think Biden isn't going to be quiet if they lose.
No, if in fact, what does Biden have to lose by going on the Told You So tour? Nothing. And that's exactly what he's going to do. His legacy is going to be, I'm the guy that beat Trump. I could have beat him again. And you know what? He'll come off as more lucid than he's ever been in those interviews. He's going to be looking at everybody going, I could have won, Jack. And he'll do that till the end of time. There will be a never ending, and I don't think he'll wait until after January 20th. What he might be nice enough to say, look, there wasn't enough time for her to start her campaign, and she's all great, but I did beat him. I beat him, and I could have beat him again. I would have won. He'll say that.
When Kelly Ann Conaway is talking about, the legacies, and she goes, and the Obamas are next. The one, and I mentioned this to you, it wasn't on the air, but I said, and it was Obama, and he's said it over and over again, and he's posting it. When you got those checks during COVID, you didn't get them from Trump. You got them from Joe Biden. It's like, just like during the Great Recession, I gave you stuff. I'm like, it's about his legacy.
Yeah,
he's viewing this. If Biden can't win, he's viewing, if Harris can't win, he's viewing it as a defeat for him.
Yes.
Why is he bringing up? Why is Obama, when he's on the trail for her, bringing up his accomplishments?
Right.
Or what he views as his accomplishments? Why is he doing that?
Yeah.
It's like your whole focus should be on her. And I brought that up to you in one of the things, because he's posting it. He's the one that's posting the stuff where he says, and I did this. Like, oh, my God, the egos.
Well, it's because he can't get out of that. He, again, he wanted all the celebration, all the rock stardom. He did not like the gig. That was well known inside the Beltway. And so his entire legacy has been about, look at everything I did. Look at everything I did. Look at everything I did. Even when he's out there campaigning for somebody else, look at everything I did. And Joe Biden wants to build his legacy out, probably because, well, number one, because it's Joe Biden. That's just the way he's going to handle things. That's his nature. But it's especially now charged to the nth degree because of the way it all went down. Because he got a call from Nancy, and he'll be doing interview after interviews. Look, Kamala's great. She didn't have enough time. I could have won. Her campaign couldn't get off the ground because there was not enough time to get off the ground. It was a bad move. I would have won. That's what you're going to hear from Joe Biden nonstop if she loses. That's basically who he is. And I agree with you. I think there's going to be this implosion or I don't know, maybe further separation. There's going to be a large amount of division inside the Democratic Party, inside liberalism. Because you have to decide, at some point, what are we doing? Identity politics was bound to fail at some point. And if she loses to Trump, that has to send a loud message. we've got to stop with the identity politics. I don't think they can.
I don't know how they. I don't know how you do it.
I don't think they can. You can't because this comes from decades of behavior and indoctrination. And so if you're saying this, even the Chuck Schumers and Nancy Pelosi's, who are the old school version, they help to indoctrinate the generations behind them. What do you tell those generations? Everything we taught you was wrong? No. You can't undo it. You already built it. You hooked it up to electricity, and the monster is alive, and it's walking around. And it's Peter Boyle, and it's dancing on stage, putting on the Ritz. It is a putting on the Ritz. Oh, I love that movie. I love that. Oh, I got to watch that this week. I won't get a chance to watch it before Halloween, but you don't need Halloween to watch Young Frankenstein. I'm sorry.
Walk this way.
Walk this Frankenstein. It's you want some help with the bags? Sure, you grab the blonde, I'll get the redhead. So many great lines from that movie. It is who they are. It is the creature. It is the monster they built, and you can't unbuild it. You can't. What do you tell an AOC? This is somebody who is 100% indoctrinated and steeped, dyed in the wool, liberal. You're not going to change that. You can't undo that. So really it comes down to the rank and file and what they respond to. And for the rank and file, you're either going to stay true to their cause or you're going to wake up and go, my gosh, what are we doing here? And you do something different.
866-90-RED-EYE.
Lines open for your calls. 866-90-RED-EYE on Red Eye Radio.
It's Red Eye Radio. He's Eric Carney, and I'm Gary McNamara. Here we are, J.D. Vance in Wisconsin yesterday. We're getting into the final week closing arguments. This is from last night.
Inside and those outside, and they were, fired up. It was a celebration of America. You had a lot of fun at that rally. And you know what? Thank you. And you know what Kamala Harris and her team woke up this morning and decided to compare it to? They decided to compare us to literal Nazis for gathering in Madison Square Garden and celebrating the United States of America. These are the same people, of course, who call us racist for wanting to secure the southern border. They're the same people who have no plans, no ideas, and no solutions. All they have is hatred of their fellow citizens. And on November the 5th, I don't want us to just elect Donald J. Trump, the President of the United States. I want us to reject Kamala Harris and a ridiculous name-calling over actual governance.
There you go, which is exactly where you should go in this week, because, as we know, the fascist isn't working for them, as the memo came out from the Democrats yesterday, the largest Democrat PAC that is supporting Harris.
Yeah, and it's a vastly different. It is so wild to look at this landscape now. Again, just 4 years ago, here we were in the heat of COVID and all the fear building surrounding COVID, all the unknowns surrounding COVID. Biden was in hiding. Remember the one thing where they had the circles drawn around the chairs and the outdoor press conference? Remember that? What is that?
Remember?
Were you going to get tackled if you
No.
left the circle? What is that?
Remember the drive-in one?
Yeah.
Where the cars are like, there wasn't a lot. There was like 50 cars.
Right.
And people in their cars, and Biden was like on stage.
Yeah. And they would honk if they approved.
Yes.
And you know some of them were honking to tell him to get off the stage.
And Biden went, oh, there's my mother.
Yeah. He kept ducking, thinking they were driving. And it's like, no. No, that's not. You're not in the streets, sir. You're.
Oh, my gosh.
How
did we ever get through 2020?
I don't
How the hell did we
know.
ever get through that?
And we were the ones that didn't drink like everybody else did.
Yeah, that's right, because we had to come to work.
Right.
We were in the studio.
Makes me wish we had. That's it's so vastly different now, though. The makeup of the Trump campaign.
Yeah.
The Trump campaign is one of the strongest campaigns I've ever seen. And I don't say those things lightly. I don't.
No, I
don't
agree
do
with
the fanboy thing. But I'm talking about surrogates being on point, doing all the right things. There were some hits and misses here, but in terms of the organization itself and the execution of the message, it has been an A game across the board. It has been really impressive to watch. And I think that's also why the left and the leftist activist media is so upset about it. They look at this and say, well, who was it? What that said the other day that said, say what you will, but this is, this campaign is doing the right things. I forget who it was on the left. And was it Cenk Uygur?
Oh, Cenk Uygur. Yeah.
He's, you've got liberals looking at it going, yeah, that's what they should be doing. Harris should be doing that.
You're listening to Red Eye Radio from the Uniden America Studios.
It's Red Eye Radio. He is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Welcome and good morning. You and I have talked about the surrogates for Harris. Bernie Sanders isn't officially a surrogate, I don't believe. But the fact is, he's not doing her any favors.
No, he's not.
Here's the latest from Bernie Sanders on Israel. And I'm watching this going, wow, you cannot be happy if you're Harris.
Right.
Because he's saying what Harris is going to do if she becomes president.
Right.
Which is basically abandon Israel.
Right.
Here we go.
And that is why I am doing everything I can to block U.S. military aid and offensive weapons sales to the right-wing extremist Netanyahu government in Israel. And I know that many of you share those feelings. And some of you are saying, how can I vote for Kamala Harris if she is supporting this terrible war? And that is a very fair question. And let me give you my best answer. And that is that even on this issue, Donald Trump and his right-wing friends are worse. In the Senate, in Congress, the Republicans have worked overtime to block humanitarian aid to the starving children in Gaza. The president and vice president both support getting as much humanitarian aid into Gaza as soon as possible. Trump has said Netanyahu is doing a good job and has said Biden is holding him back. He has suggested that the Gaza Strip would make excellent beachfront property for development. And it is no wonder Netanyahu prefers to have Donald Trump in office. But even more importantly, and this I promise you, after Kamala wins, we will together do everything that we can to change U.S. policy toward Netanyahu. An immediate ceasefire, the return of all hostages, a surge of massive humanitarian aid, the stopping of settler attacks on the West Bank, and the rebuilding of Gaza for the Palestinian people. And let me be clear, we will have, in my view, a much better chance of changing U.S. policy with Kamala than with Trump, who is extremely close to Netanyahu and sees him as a like-minded, right-wing extremist ally.
There you go. Now, he said, let me be clear, he's not being clear. What he's saying is, I support Hamas, and so does Harris.
Right.
That's his message.
Right. Now I've got a lot of questions for Kamala Harris.
Yep.
Because that sounds like an official stance. It sounds like he's an official surrogate, although there's nothing there that tells us he is.
But he's saying we.
Yes.
Not I will get her.
He's basically co-opting her campaign here. So she either has to disavow that or stand with Bernie.
Yeah.
Which is to stand against Israel.
That's funny.
That's a huge, this is not a small thing.
Oh, I know.
We're talking our biggest ally, our strongest ally in the Middle East. And Bernie's saying, we're going to abandon them.
Yep.
And we're going to help the enemy.
Yep. We're going to support Hamas.
Now, we know this administration is already supporting the enemy in a number of ways, primarily through funding Iran. We know that. But we're talking about the campaign itself, what a Kamala Harris presidency would be doing officially when it comes to Israel. Now, we can all nod our heads and know that, she's not going to be pro-Israel. But there is that fine line, that balance. You know, you're even seeing, we talked about it, Joe Biden trying to basically have it both ways. Give Israel some assistance, but he's funding Iran, which he has the sole power to do, defund them. And he doesn't do that. So we know who they are. We're just talking about what it looks like imagery-wise and where her campaign is versus what Bernie just said, what you heard him say.
Take all offensive weapons away from Israel.
Yep.
So we know where Bernie Sanders stands, and what he's saying is, Kamala, that's what we will do.
Yeah.
And this is all part of the surrogates really aren't helping her. I don't think Obama's helped her at all. Clinton has just killed her.
Yeah.
As a surrogate, he's just this. I mean, every time he opens his mouth, it's like
creepy.
Are you a mole?
Yeah.
Are you on the other? Are you on the Trump side?
Yeah.
You got to be a mole here.
Yeah.
He just bad.
Well, his comments on the border, his comments about Carrie Lake, which were weird, but exactly what you would expect to hear from creepy Bill Clinton.
I gotta tell you, she's the opposition, but I tell you, she looks good.
Listen,
she looks good to me.
Her legs may be perfect, but she doesn't have a leg to stand on politically.
Hillary's not going to like it when I say this, but man, she's hot.
There's a reason
I didn't mean Hillary.
There's a reason Hillary wears pantsuits. Let's just be clear.
It's
just weird.
It's like if I know if I'm going through my day and they're like,
Bill Clinton's about to speak.
Bill Clinton's about to speak. It's like, I got to make sure stop what I'm doing.
You're at Target. You run to where they have all the TVs. Turn it on. Turn it
on. How's he going to kill her campaign today? What's he going to say?
Oh, my gosh. Oh, man.
And then, Biden is just... The Biden stuff is just...
This is as dysfunctional as it gets politically. I thought the 2016 primary season for the Democrats was dysfunctional, speaking of Bernie. Where they were just letting Bernie... We found this out after the hacked emails came out from the DNC. But, they were letting Bernie have his run out west. Let him think like he's going to win and he's gaining momentum. But she's going to be the nominee. We all know she's going to be the nominee. We're going to make darn sure she is. I thought that was dysfunctional. That's nothing compared to what it is now. You know what I heard? I heard they're going to deport people and then take the white guys and put them with something.
All right. Wait a minute. What, we did that, 2 hours ago?
It's been a couple of hours. We got to revisit it.
Yeah, just so everybody understands, so you don't miss out. And it's not the joke. You're not missing out on a joke. You're missing out on reality.
This is actually something that happened.
This happened. Whoopi Goldberg claims Trump will dismantle interracial marriages and redistribute the white spouses. It's just funny. It made me more funnier. It's funnier the second time.
Well, they went from a chicken in every pot to a white dude in every marriage. What?
Or vice versa,
Or
because
vice
it depends
versa.
who the illegal is.
I guess.
I'm not sure what she's saying, but she goes, what we heard at that rally should be enough to shake folks away because he's talking about you. He's not going to say, oh, you're with the white guy, I'm going to keep you from being deported. No, he's going to deport you and put the white guy with someone else.
Like you just hold all the white guys in storage, and then we'll just do a redistribution later. What?
And I would assume it would be the opposite, that if it was the husband that was the illegal and the woman was white,
Yeah.
well, then she would just be thrown in for the arranged marriage by Trump. So what I thought was interesting is if then Trump's going to take control of it and Trump will deport one and then will force the other one into an arranged marriage, then Trump will create slavery of white people in this country.
It's like, is there going to be a warehouse, holding warehouse for, well, what do we got? It looks like a Jan and Dean situation. What? 2 girls for every boy. We have far too many. It's the weirdest, most bizarre thing that Whoopi has said today.
And there's been some weird ones.
I'm gonna qualify it because there's always tomorrow. Oh my gosh! What?
Well, you know something. I heard because he's got another TV show that Ted Danson's going to show up on the show, and he's going to come in blackface, so Trump doesn't put him in an arranged marriage.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Okay, you have to go back a few years for that one if people don't remember.
You have
that
to go
one.
back a ways for that one.
Yeah,
By the way, it's okay when a liberal does it. Remember. Wow. Man.
God, they're just absolutely losing it.
Seriously, man. Historians are going to, it's going to be here's where it will be in the year 2525 if man is still alive.
Now,
the book will be America. What went wrong?
So somebody has to ask Whoopi, because she's the one that's coming up with the scenario. Does this mean that the white person who Trump will put in an arranged marriage, apparently, do they have to? Is he going to force them? Then is this about ending? Because she's trying to kill a bunch of birds with one stone. That Trump's going to deport you, and then he's going to break up the interracial marriages of illegals and legals, and I don't know how that goes. Again, you have to get into her mind on it. But then will Trump force only whites to marry whites in his arranged marriage gulag?
Yeah, I don't know. I just want to go, tell me more, Whoopi. And just listen to her babble on.
I agree with you, though. The lawyers that they have on retainer, because they never know what they're going to do to defame someone. So they have to give the correction during the break.
Right.
They probably said, look, we've got to do so. We're not sure how to handle this, but we got to do something. Can we shut her up?
Well, I mean, you know, they're sitting there, they're watching it play out, and they're saying to themselves, "You talk about cringe."
I know.
Because they're saying to each other, "Oh, I hope she doesn't say it. I hope she doesn't say it. I hope she." Oh, she said it. She said it out loud where people could hear it, and she was on the air. I mean, that's a horrible job. That would be a horrible job, because every day would be, here we go. All right, here we go. Let's just try and survive, people. Just try and get out of this alive. My gosh.
Funny stuff.
Yeah.
Really, I mean, it's just like we just wonder. And you have to ask, you do have to ask with such an insane comment, are they sober?
Well, you do, you know, and I mean, my follow-up would be, well, what is that? What do you mean by that? I'm not understanding, Whoopi. You know, you need to explain to me like I'm a child. What would happen next? What do you mean by that? Please keep talking.
866-90 Red Eye.
Coming up, more with Gary McNamara and Eric Harley. It's Red Eye Radio.
It's Red Eye Radio. He is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Coming up here following the top of the hour, the CBO likely is underestimating the rise in interest rates due to the debt. That the interest rates are being kept up there because of the debt. It's something that we've talked about before, that we criticized others for not talking about a ways back.
Right.
We said, well, wait a minute. If we're going to have all this, the interest on the debt, that has to be paid, well, and we have this amount of debt, it can keep interest rates higher.
Right.
Wait till you see, though, what they're talking about. The future is right now. Remember, they always lowball it, too, when you look at it.
Yeah.
They always lowball.
Yeah.
Wait till you see the lowball of what the interest is going to be on the debt. Just the interest coming up here in the next couple of years, because that's just pretty frightening in itself when you see that.
Well, and, you know, what it seems there very few of us are concerned about it in a serious way right now. But eventually, again, we get to the point of, at some point, not being able to service the interest on the debt.
Not an issue at all in the presidential election.
No, you don't
Not
hear
an issue at all.
either
Not an issue.
talking about it.
Nope.
This is Red Eye Radio on Westwood One. Now, it's Red Eye Radio. Gary McNamara and Eric Harley talk about everything from politics to social issues and news of the day. Whether you're up late or you're just starting your day, welcome to the show. From the Uniden America Studios, this is Red Eye Radio.
All across America, we are Red Eye Radio. He is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Good morning. Well, where are we a week out? All right, where are we a week out? First, let's go to CNN, and Jake Tapper saying a couple of things that maybe the Harris campaign doesn't want to hear.
Focused messaging from Trump's 2024 campaign operation is one of the reasons why this race is so competitive. A professional campaign appeals to a multiracial coalition focusing on issues where Trump polls better than Harris, immigration, the economy. And we saw some evidence of a political realignment with the very fact that yesterday Trump was able to fill the 20,000 or so seats at Madison Square Garden in Manhattan for his campaign rally. It's a feat that likely no other Republican presidential candidate would have been able to pull off.
There you go. So that's one thing going, all right, so Is that the first time CNN or anybody, liberal network, has actually said those kind of things? Because he said what we would say. It's the surrogates that he has. It's a professional campaign being run.
Yeah.
Surrogates are right on.
Yeah.
I mean, some of the best surrogates, you said this earlier, and I agree with you, probably, I don't remember as many great surrogates for a presidential candidate.
Right.
And we're talking specifically J.D. Vance, Ramaswamy, Elon Musk. I'm probably missing a couple of people, but those are the main ones.
Johnny Hinchcliffe. Oh, maybe not him.
No.
It's a
Roseanne.
No, but here's the thing, because you can go back and say, okay, well, the Republican Party was gelled when, I don't know, when Reagan was running or when Reagan ran for a second term or, things like that. Well, okay, but it was, I don't know if they used the word establishment. It didn't have, I think it had immediacy. I think it had urgency. It didn't have the passion that you hear and the urgency that you have today.
Well, I think it's probably unfair to compare any campaign pre-internet.
Yeah, I was going to say that was the biggest disadvantage they had is that they couldn't get the word out except for once a day with talking points.
And actually, you could say things changed after the 80s when we got much more cable news oriented.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't need, you sit there and go, well, Reagan had a great campaign. His surrogates had to be, well, even if he had surrogates, they weren't out every single day like you see today.
Right.
I got to find the article that was written yesterday. It just popped into my head now. And it was a liberal media outlet talking about it. Oh, where was it? I'll find it here before the show ends. That was talking about the fact that, well, the established media is getting killed.
Yeah.
And talking about the whole Joe Rogan thing and podcasting and where it has gone now, and the legacy media is using their influence, which again gets you to Jeff Bezos and the Washington Post. Look, newspapers aren't going to survive, so they have to have an internet presence. And if you have an internet presence, how long will it last? I don't know how you save the legacy media. I don't know how you save. When I say the legacy, I guess I'll mean the legacy print media. I don't know. I don't think it's savable no matter what you do.
Well, because
in that particular format,
because they're replacing a paper subscription with an online subscription, and I think you can only get away with that for so long in terms of, unless they change the price point or how they're going to do it. Monetizing it is going to be very different, and I don't think they've gotten that down yet.
Right, and that's the business model aspect of it.
Exactly.
No matter what you do, I don't know how you save it, but you can see that he's looking at it saying, this isn't good. This isn't working. This isn't working for us. Now, he immediately loses, 8% of these subscriptions. I don't know how you replace that because the brand itself, is so tainted for half the country. I don't know how you save it.
Right.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
That they have there. Now, they created their own nightmare, but I don't know how you save it. But surrogates, they're out every day in every, you go to the internet, within 5 minutes, I can see what every surrogate for the Trump campaign has said or the Harris campaign has said for that particular day. You've never had that before. So the importance of being on point every single time, and that's the problem that the Harris campaign has had. When you look, Clinton's just a disaster. Obama isn't that much better. It's always got to revert back to Well, Biden did this, and then I did this. Mm-hmm. And it's just like, wow. It's not good. And it's immediately recognizable, the problem that she has when nobody knows where she stands. The surrogates don't know where she stands. They don't know what to say.
Right, exactly.
Everybody, every surrogate, for the major surrogates for Trump, they're out there, and whether it's Ramaswamy or J.D. Vance or Elon Musk, they're just point on. They know. They don't have to ask Trump really where he stands. They've paid attention. They know where he stands.
Right.
With her, you have no idea, so the surrogates aren't as effective. But for Trump, extremely effective. And I agree with you, the best surrogates in any election that I've ever seen. And again, the asterisk would be before the internet, you just didn't have the exposure that you have
Well,
now.
that's it. It is quite possibly the most effective campaign that I've seen because efficacy has to include the modern technology that we have available to us, which is our access to them, which, back in the day, you did have to stump. There was a reason why they had to go out into these communities and rallies, have some purpose, but they're not as effective as the, widespread media that you get that's 24/7 now. And when you get this kind of organization, but it's even more than the organization. Look, Trump in 2016, it was organized. I'm going to put an asterisk there, and that explainer is going to be much longer than it needs to be. But then in 2020, it was okay. Everybody was telling him, just promote your accomplishments, just promote the things you've done.
Yeah.
And we were in COVID, and it was that kind of chaos that was created about the overreaction to COVID. And then now you see what I think is the culmination of a lot of things, which you can't exclude. In fact, I think it to a large extent changes the nature of the person that he is, and that's 2 assassination attempts, the lawfare, and everything that's been thrown at him. I think he sees what people are responding to, and I do believe he has the mindset of a public servant. He puts his name on everything, and, it's going to be the greatest ever. Everybody knows it was the biggest ever. It was, and he's got all these inflated things. I call it the Don King approach. But that's the promoter in him. Now let's talk about his accomplishments. Well, actually, some of those are worthy of that kind of promotion, and that's, many of them. And so you look at that now where everything is. They have effectively come in and disarmed the liberal media at every turn. J.D. Vance, in the past, anybody who's gone after, his ticket mate in the past would be going, well, back then, my concern was a blah, blah. J.D. Vance leans into it and goes and owns it. And by doing that, disarms everything that the media has in coming at him. Byron Donalds does this. Ramaswamy does this. They're all doing this. Elon Musk, and I think Elon Musk is in part the star power. Didn't get a chance to finish this earlier, but because our clock was on fire. We look at an Elon Musk, and I don't know on all the issues exactly where he stands. I'm not looking to vote for Elon Musk, but he brings a star power in what he has done for free speech, in his actions, not just by buying Twitter and turning it into X, but by organizing and executing the plan that became the Twitter files. I think it was imperative. I've said for the longest time, true journalism has a very critical role in a free society. It is that transparency that lacks, that is exposed by things are exposed by true journalism, and you see what's happening behind the scenes. You see what the government is doing, and true journalism helps to expose that in the greatest of ways. So free speech, real journalists, a handful of real journalists, and quite frankly, there's only a handful left. And that kind of behavior under his leadership is what brings his star power, in my opinion. SpaceX, very nice, very cool, very interesting to look into. I think it does have a role. Space travel and exploration will always have a role. But really the star power for the campaign, I think, are those two things. the free speech, which includes the work done by real journalists during the X-Files.
Well,
I'm sorry, Twitter files. We call them the X-Files now.
When you look at it, I think two major things, as we've talked about before, was him buying X and Riley Gaines coming out.
Yep.
Because I can't believe how many commercials the Republicans are running using the radical transgender movement, which means they're very, very effective.
Yes.
And with Elon Musk buying Twitter, now X, and Riley Gaines coming out, that really has gotten those movements moving big time. I did want to mention this because I said both campaigns have not talked about the debt. Actually, over the last couple of weeks, it's been brought up that Elon Musk will be put in charge of that and that he could cut $2 trillion. Now, I'll wait and see.
Yeah.
I'll wait and see on that one, but they actually did bring it up and used it in the fact that, this is a business guy, Elon Musk, he's a guy I'm going to put there. Now, when talking about surrogates, I'm not as sold as a lot of Republicans are on Robert Kennedy Jr.
I'm not either.
When
I'm
Trump,
not, you and I talked about this from the beginning.
When Trump said the other day, on medical things, I'm going to put him completely in charge and just let him go, just free wheel, do whatever he did. No.
Yeah. No,
I'm not. No. He's a lifelong liberal. And I'll tell you, I frankly still don't trust him. And
I was about to say, I don't trust him to have that kind of role. If you want to talk about advisor to bend the president's ear occasionally, that's one thing. But in a real role where he could make administrative moves, I've got great concern with that.
Yes, so do I. And so, but again, that's not why I'm voting in this election. I'm voting number one thing, which is dominant over everything else, and that's to stop the lawfare and to stop the weaponization of government, and to stop what the left has proclaimed they wish to do to the First Amendment, to the Second Amendment, to freedom of speech, freedom of religion, the Second Amendment, the Electoral College, the Senate, all those things in which they wish to destroy the basic tenets of the Constitution. That's why I'm voting. Everything else, fiscal matters, wherever Robert Kennedy Jr. might go or whatever position he would get, those are all way down the list and secondary. We've got to stop the lawfare. We've got to stop the weaponization of government. That's why I'm voting. If Trump wins next week, believe me, next year, some of our listeners are going to go, you guys said you voted for him, but you're criticizing him. Yeah, because we told you why we voted for him.
Yep.
But nope, we don't like this, and this.
If you get my vote, you're not beyond reproach.
Right. It'll go back to normal times again, where everybody hates us.
Sure. Exactly. Well, it's funny that we're talking about, earlier we were talking about the sides switching roles when it comes to things like illegal immigration, things like that. Democrats used to be against illegal immigration and all of that, and now it's the Republicans carrying that torch. This might sum it up, or at least this might be one indicator, at least. The Republicans have a Kennedy, and the Democrats have both Cheneys. Say that out loud.
And that wraps up the 2024 analysis.
There you have it.
866-90-RED-EYE.
Brought to you by Hot Shot Secret.
Hi, I'm Jen Loomis, a transport safety expert at J.J. Keller, and I'm here to share a tip on speed and space management. Due to safety concerns, many motor carriers have policies that limit or prohibit the use of cruise control. If your motor carrier does allow you to use cruise control, you should only use it in good driving conditions during daylight hours and on roads that have light traffic, few curves or hills, and a consistent speed limit. Never use cruise control when operating in adverse driving conditions, including wet, icy, or slippery roads, during rush hour in heavy traffic or on congested highways, at night, or when you're tired or fatigued. During all of these driving scenarios, you want to be controlling and adjusting your speed as you drive instead of having to suddenly brake if you encounter an obstacle. In the case of a slippery road surface, you want to be able to slow your vehicle by not accelerating instead of using the brakes whenever possible. This tip was brought to you by J.J. Keller and Associates. Visit us at jjkeller.com.
Coming up, more with Gary McNamara and Eric Harley. It's Red Eye Radio.
Progressive Commercial Insurance protects truck owners with specialized coverages for heavy trucks. Get a quote in as little as 5 minutes at progressivecommercial.com.
It's Red Eye Radio. He's Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Coming up following the bottom of the hour, we'll have the latest in the polling out there. And interesting, New Hampshire, latest poll in New Hampshire shows Trump winning in New Hampshire. We'll get to that. We have stated, and I believe this is completely accurate, that I've never seen a presidential campaign that has used from almost every single Harris speech or Walz speech, and they've made it into a political ad.
Yeah.
Here's one from yesterday. All right, here we go.
All right.
As I travel our country, there is an overwhelming call for a fresh start. People from all walks of life, and they are calling for a new generation of leadership.
I'm Donald J. Trump, and I approve this message.
I've never seen it. All right, now, are you ready?
All right.
I found it.
All right.
I found the Whoopi audio cut.
Okay, good.
This is where Whoopi said yesterday that Trump is going to break up interracial marriages, deport the wives or the spouse, whatever, and put the white guy with someone else.
All right.
And in case you think we were making it up, here we go.
All of you. Talking about you, it's us. He's not going to, say, oh, you're with a white guy, I'm going to keep you from being deported. No, he's going to deport you and put the white guy with someone else. The man is out there.
I'm sorry, he's out there? He's out there? He's out there?
What do you think? I mean, we're almost to November 1st, and we start thinking of, we never just have one anymore. It's a series, but that could almost be the audio cut of the year just to show you the insanity.
It's got to be in the running.
The insanity of the left right now. Or not right now.
Yeah.
Has been the last few years.
Right. Yeah, no, that's got to be in the running.
Let's play one more time.
Yeah, we got to hear it again.
All of you. Talking about you, it's us. He's not going to, say, oh, you're with a white guy, I'm going to keep you from being deported. No, he's going to deport you and put the white guy with someone else. The man is out there.
What the hell does that even mean?
Yeah, he's really crazy.
Yeah.
Observing and analyzing the insanity. Eric Harley and Gary McNamara. Nightly on Red Eye Radio.
And he is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. All right, so where is the election going a week out? We do this every day. We update you as to what the polling is looking like. This is Mark Halprin yesterday on latest polling and early voting numbers, specifically looking at New Hampshire. And he talks to Michael Graham of the New Hampshire Journal on their new poll showing Trump in the lead in New Hampshire.
And Michael Graham joins us now with the results of a new poll, which countered most polling, including other recent polls, some other recent polls, shows New Hampshire not only close, but Michael actually has. Who's leading in your poll, Michael?
Believe it or not, in a state that Democrats have carried 7 of the last 8 times, the Granite State, Donald Trump has a massive 50.2 to 49.8 lead. So
you and I have been in colloquy for weeks, ever since Kamala Harris did an event in New Hampshire And the Harris campaign told me absolutely has nothing to do with worry about whether she'll win New Hampshire. Then Joe Biden went to New Hampshire last week. Again, nothing to do with that. So tell us about what you think is actually going on in terms of your poll and facts on the ground.
So a month ago, New Hampshire Journal would not have published this poll. I'd have gone back to our pollster, which is Jonathan Klingler down at Mississippi State University, and said, there's no way. But a month ago, the polling, St. Anselm and others had Trump losing by about 6.5. And if you told me, and then last Thursday, Emerson came out and Trump was 50-47, losing by 3, margin of error. And then I, of course, every day tune in to the morning meeting, and I heard your reporting on this. I heard Sean's reporting, and I got the numbers, and I was stunned, and we went back. In fact, they dropped 100 samples and picked up another new 100 to test it, and this is where they were. And I said, let's go with it. And I think the two things that are moving in these purpley states, the big one is Kamala Harris is failing the audition for the job. She's just failing. And the other one is, I think you guys have picked up on these subterranean issues that are having effects that people aren't looking at, like these fight over trans issues, guys and girls sports. New Hampshire is kind of ground zero for that. We've had a couple of high profile cases. There's a lawsuit. There's a new law.
That's what I was talking about. The amount of ads out there for the radical transgender movement that the left, I don't think, is expecting was going to have this backlash. And I do think it's having an effect, especially on the margins. It's having the effect. We'll see, what it does. But I'm amazed the number of ads that's the entire ad.
Yeah,
it'll be the entire ad.
Right.
And,
part of me, you look at where she's failing, and part of me wants to. And I think this is true to a certain extent. It's not the brunt of what's happening, but she doesn't have the ability to play by the old liberal playbook even. She doesn't have the ability to put a sentence together that has any meaning. There was more word salad stuff on another interview. And it's just, it's mind-boggling how bad it is. But then I think of, okay, if not her, who, right? This is what the Democrats were thinking, and they were thinking Newsom. Well, Newsom might be able to put a more coherent sentence together, but what's the bigger problem? The bigger problem is those policies fail. It goes back to the reality. It's the issues. You said this, we were probably getting into the summer, and you said it was around, because we started watching the numbers really start to turn for Trump in February of this year. And as those polls started that shift, it was around mid-February, we were seeing the reality of, everything. The spending frenzy that was last Christmas was over. And then people's savings were gone, depleted, then delinquencies on revolving debt and car loans and everything else were on the rise. And people were clearly underwater. And the issues, reality, the border, inflation, everything that's going on was all hitting. And so their problem really is twofold. She can't put a coherent sentence together and sell the liberal agenda at all. And if she were able to, it would fall short. Even still, there's no win. It's a lose-lose scenario for the Democrats, at least this time around. Outside of deep blue areas, they're losing. When you have Democrats who are senators and they're using words like, I stood with Donald Trump on blah, blah. Oh, my gosh. Go back to January of 2021.
And every one of them voted to impeach Trump.
Exactly. Go back to January 2021, post-January 6th of 2021, and then make that prediction that by Election Day, you'll not only have more and more people going for Trump, you will have Democrats who are running for office in the Senate aligning with him and using his name to align with him in their advertising.
Who voted to impeach him.
If you had made that prediction in January of 2021, I would have said you're insane. That's a conspiracy theory. It's not going to happen. It's wishful thinking. It's anything but the truth. And here we are. And it tells you the effects of reality. Reality brings everything else to the surface, all the other stuff to the surface. Oh, wait a minute. He didn't actually say that in Charlottesville? Oh, wait a minute. You mean he's not actually Hitler? Oh, wait a minute. You mean he's not actually a fascist? Oh, wait a minute. All of these things, reality brings all the other realities to the surface with it. And it all floats up there for everybody to see going, the left was selling us a bill of goods. And we go back to Michael Rappaport, but it bears repeating because it applies. Because he was such an angry liberal, angry Hollywood liberal. He was really great in Copland. Really off the charts angry at the world and all the names he called Trump. And now he's discovered all these lies that he was told by the left and he was buying into. And I've been asking the question for a long time. What is it you actually know that wasn't told to you, that you didn't do research on, that someone told you? What is it you actually know about the Republican Party, about who these people are, including Donald Trump or J.D. Vance? What did you actually know? What is your belief based on?
Looking at the polls from yesterday in Wisconsin, the USA Today poll, Trump 48, Harris 47. Minnesota, and this is from the Minnesota Post, Harris +3 in Minnesota.
That's wild.
48-45. Let me see very quickly. Is that in the margin of error? Okay, just outside the margin of error. It's 2.4. Okay, and that was taken 10/16 through 10/22. So there you go, and so that's extreme. That's Minnesota. Wow. Insider advantage. One of the top pollsters of 2020 for the president. Pennsylvania, Trump 48, Harris 47. Trump +1. Insider advantage again for Michigan, Trump +1 in Michigan, 48-47. Texas, I think they were making too much of it. You've seen the lead starting to broaden now. Trump 52, Harris 42, Trump +10 in the state of Texas.
Right.
Rasmussen, Trump 50, Harris 44, +6 in Texas. You have Rasmussen for Virginia, Harris 48, Trump 46. In Virginia, margin of error 3. You want to see the last few polls? And by the way, Rasmussen, one of the most accurate polls. We go back to the let me see the poll starting the Hill Emerson September 22nd through September 24th. Harris +8. The poll that was finished 10-4, Harris +11. This is Virginia. Washington Post 10-19 to 10-23, Harris +6. Rasmussen, Harris +2. And with inside the margin of error.
Yeah.
As that one tightens up. National, Rasmussen 48, Harris 47. Let's see, what else did we have here? Pennsylvania, insider advantage. Again, one of the most accurate pollsters of 2020. Casey 47, McCormick 47. Whoa. Wow. Insider advantage, Michigan, Rogers 48, Slotkin 48 in Michigan. Wow. Just checking out there. And that's really it. That's the polls that came out yesterday. So still a week out, we're seeing again, all the movement still continuing in Trump's direction.
Right
now.
Yeah. It's pretty interesting looking at it. And then you look at the breakdown of the Senate races. I mean, right now it has, if nothing big changes, and I don't know why anything would change over the next week, but Republicans at the very least have 51 seats in the Senate.
Yeah, that's stayed the same. Yeah, they've still.
Look. The number's been anywhere between 52 and 54, and I think I have to believe that's all right. That's probably where it's going to land, somewhere 52 to 54. And but the question is, how will Trump perform? He could outperform, like in Arizona. Maybe Gallego wins in that one, and Carrie Lake greatly underperforms, so he outperforms her there. But he could also outperform and still carry some of those seats in those toss-up states with him. You look at the gain that McCormick has made over Casey in recent weeks, and it's pretty strong. And now we're getting down to neck and neck, well within the margin of error now on the polls in Pennsylvania.
And the toss-ups, the 5 toss-ups are Michigan, Nevada, Ohio, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin for the Senate.
And if he wins Pennsylvania, Ohio, Michigan, and Wisconsin, I have to believe he carries the down ballot on those Senate seats. Maybe not the case with Arizona based on, how Gallego has been performing, but.
And if you see, hasn't the lead in Ohio been huge for Trump?
Yeah, it's been pretty solid.
What was the last one? Yeah, I don't have it here in front of me at the moment.
Yeah, it's been a pretty solid lead.
Yeah, so if you, I can't, you look at it. Let me just see if I can find the actual race.
The RCP average right now, he's got a lead in Ohio 7.
7?
Yeah, RCP average. Wow. Yeah. Yep. Okay. And Rasmussen has him at +7 in their latest poll listed here, which was 10-9 through 10-14. So, it's a couple weeks old, but still, it's a pretty solid lead there in Ohio that he has. And I have to believe, again, on the down ballot. It's quite possible he outperforms some of those Senate races, but I'd be I don't know that it would be many.
Which would be mind-boggling.
Yeah,
after 2020,
right?
That would be
exactly.
Trump outperformed.
You vote for him, but you don't want the work to be done. You don't vote for the Senate in that case. And I don't know. Yeah,
866-90 Red Eye.
We'll be right back with more Red Eye Radio with Eric Harley and Gary McNamara.
It's Red Eye Radio. He's Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. One of my favorite headlines from yesterday was National Review, Jeffrey Blair's column. The Washington Post declines to endorse for president, and civilization melts.
Well, no, it does, because how dare you? But, I'll pose it as a question. Have we reached an age where more and more media groups don't want to fall on that sword?
The best thing is reactions to the L.A. Times were muted. That's because, to be perfectly honest, nobody cares about the Los Angeles Times.
This is Red Eye Radio on Westwood One.